Take 3. Hey guys, Bolt here. We're here for the rewritten of the Saiyan Saga. So last week we did the OG Dragon Ball. Quick notes. I made this series to where it would be PG, to where you can show, like, if this was a Netflix series, it could be shown to kids. You can turn on an option to show blood and have strong language, which would make it PG-13. Major changes were Roshi, Yamcha, and Oolong were not obsessed with women. They were just weakened to be around women, so they would fumble the bag rather than just being, ooh. Nose bleeds. Goku is not stupid because he's around Bulma and Kami. He's able to pick up on knowledge, and by the time Z happens, he's about a high schooler in terms of knowledge. Bulma and Goku have a stronger sibling relationship rather than you're a friend that slightly annoys me and I don't care what I'm doing as long as I get what I want and get what I get to fight people. No, it's like they actually have like a, hey, you're the only other person Goku, hey, you're the only person I've been around for years, and they quickly, like, his social ability, no, all living things must have some kind of social battery or like someone to go to. So having Bulma would be like a vacuum and hey, all my attention is on you because you're the first human being I got to meet in forever. First 8 episodes are Pilaf Saga, understanding the Dragon Balls, learning some of the rules. Character development is very strong in my rewritten. Hey, we should be teaching why they went from point A, which is like Yamcha being a thug, to Z, where he's a martial artist / baseball player that has somewhat honor and will not do anything to anyone else, in a bad sense. And then, slowly tell why Bulma doesn't constantly show her tush to guy. Well, she doesn't show tush to guys in my rewritten, but she doesn't have Google AIs over every gentleman that comes by. Tournament Saga, I made it to where we made fights not last an entire episode. If they were just quick one hits or a few hits or gimmicks, I made them like slideshows, like Ram Fam and Nam. They're just the tournament announcer blocking the camera. Or, Bacterion is literally we get a run through of what he did, the whole reason why it was a tough fight, and then Krillin beating him. It'd be like little screenshots to tell what happened in the fight, with a little bit of some, showing the fight when it got pretty desperate. But that's about it for a lot of the Tournament Saga. Moving on to the, specials of Sleeping Princess, we meet Aurelie. Launch does die in the Aurelie special with Mercenary Tao, to Mercenary Tao, setting up a first death, and then in the Daiki P arc, when Tien fights Daiki P, DK P, Launch tries to save Tien, but because it's just human with a gun, she dies, and because Dragon Ball rules, she can't come back until what the Namek Saga was, but my rewritten strongly enforces, hey, if it's been 3 years, you cannot bring people back. So by the time we get to the Namek Saga, Launch just cannot come back. So Launch, by the end of OG Dragon Ball, or even before the 23rd tournament, is just gone. Because the problem with the Dragon Ball story is just, hey, we can bring anyone back at any point in time. We have too many Dragon Balls. This can happen, that can happen. No. Launch is one of the first characters that you just, once they are dead for a second time, they are gone. Relationships forming, openness to certain things, like Roshi eventually becoming a master again and not being a hermit. 20-second tournament, speedrun a few of the battles, get to the major ones. This is a seasonal based project to where it's just like, hey, this episode, and this episode. It's a saga in 8 episodes or a saga in 16 episodes. And then after that we get to the 23rd World Tournament. Nothing really much changed in OG Dragon Ball except for some of the characters. Their development is shown a little bit better. Their relationships are made through a little bit more. Some things are modernized. And then, showing launch being one of the, having an actual, death makes it to where this is a little bit better than how Dragon Ball was originally made. We immediately get to Chi-Chi and Goku having a wedding. Then they go on to try to get the fan to blow out the burning kingdom for a second time. Well, the castle. They get that, but we get to meet Grandpa Gohan. He teaches Goku some life advice before going back to the leaving him until he comes to afterlife. Going back to the Ox King, he was babysitting baby Gohan because they're talking about Gohan and his life advice. Baby Gohan hears the name, likes it, adapts it, adopts the name. And then we go on to World's Strongest. It's literally just a Roshi, Krillin, and Goku. Hey, it's been a year or two since the 23rd World Tournament. We're still that bond of master and disciple. Also kind of hinting at that there's a lot of people that were in the shadows that have noticed the Z Fighters and know they exist and make fort plans, or hey, we need to take out them eventually if we want to get our goals done. And then Dead Zone is literally just we'll show Garlic, the Garlic Senior's actual death. And then Junior kind of points out that there's a bigger universe out there, which is setting up for Z, where it's space and other timelines and stuff. And then the biggest thing is just Goku and Piccolo to set up for the Saiyan Saga. They see each other and scale each other and go into training, which puts them for the Saiyan Saga. Moving on, we're finally going into the Saiyan Saga. I'm going to try to make this quicker than I did with OG Dragon Ball. So Raditz is episode 1. We have the reunion of Bulma, Krillin, Roshi, and them meeting Kid Gohan because World's Strongest Kid Gohan was just a toddler. And then in Dead Zone, he does get kidnapped, but let's just say Chi-Chi goes along and takes him back, so none of the Z Fighters get to actually meet Gohan before this point. Raditz, of course, mentions what happened to the Saiyans, goes over the whole thing of Goku being a Saiyan. And by the end of the, they have the full battle between Goku, Piccolo, and Raditz. And he warns Vegeta and Nappa to come get their wish and wipe out the people of Earth. And then Goku and Raditz do die here. One of the biggest things that I've changed for the Z story is that Raditz is not the brother to Goku. Why are we doing this? Because he is literally one of the dumbest decisions to ever be made. He has not been relevant in games. He's not been relevant in anything. You just say, hey, he's the beginning of the Z, he's Goku's brother, and he dies immediately. He doesn't even get brought up except for as a kid to show off that he existed in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. So I think let's just get rid of the notion that he is brothers with Goku, who else than maybe having downed hair like Kine, he doesn't look anything like the parents, and he has none of the skills or like personality that those three do. Moving on to episode 2, this is just Gohan and Piccolo doing their training. We have the destruction of the moon and Gohan's cut tail. Episode 3 is the Z Fighters going to Kami's training. We meet the Forgotten Saiyans. Apparently these guys were before Goku. So before Planet Vegeta was destroyed in my rewritten universe, some Saiyans were previously told to come to Earth and take it over. Well, like get the materials from it. But Kami put a stop to it early on. So these are Saiyans that were very weak that Kami himself was able to put down. And now we're seeing like after images of them. Let's see. Episode 8 is Goku on Snake Way. He falls off into Infinite Losers. We'll just call it to make it easier on me. We meet the workers. We see a divine tree that is told that it is forbidden for any mortal to touch. And will be punished severely if he does. He uses that to his advantage to get back onto Snake Way. We do meet the Snake Princess in this. That way he still has that little talk with him. And then he gets back on the Snake Way. Oh, we do meet Kinyama here. And he's able to speed off, and then like we land and meet King Kai. Moving on. So at the end, Gohan is targeted and shown a glass pane that he is a half Saiyan, and there's people in silhouettes saying we're gonna need him to conquer the universe. And King Kai warns everyone that, hey, there is another threat looming. Like Goku, like Vegeta and Nappa are still coming. They're on their way, and it still will take that year. But there's another threat that was just hovering around, that was just out of sight that originally Kami couldn't pick up. And the only thing we get to see at the end of that episode is that the silhouette has Goku's hair. Yep, we're doing a Tree of Might. So episode 5, Turles lands. His team and the Z Fighters fight. You know, because they're the Z Fighters, they win. But then they go into the actual fight with Turles. His whole thing, like he reveals that he's trying to get Gohan to like beat an empire that's out there, and he wants him to help decimate worlds. And he explains he's able to use False Moon, but Gohan has grown his tail back. And here's when we get an explanation of why the tail is growing back. And I made it to where anyone from a baby all the way until like right before their young adult ages, so about 17, they can just constantly regrow it several times, like dozens of times within a year. And because Gohan is younger, his tail can be like duplicated pretty quickly. But mature Saiyans in like young adult to more like mid-life, their tail, if it's cut off or like yanked out, it will start regrowing, but it's kind of like if a limb was stuck in your back, regrowing. And the thing is, if it doesn't get fully developed, you're just pulling out a flesh nub. So it's like Vegeta and Goku later in the story can pull out their tail at any time, but if they pull it out any time sooner than it's supposed to be developed, it'll be a very big weakness because of how like underdeveloped the tail is. So that explains why. Um, and here's why I made sure Raditz wasn't his brother. Because I made Turles, who has the hairstyle of Bardock and Goku, the older brother. Let's see here. He reveals that he's the older brother of Goku because we're talking about Gohan. He's like his uncle. And then he reveals about information. We didn't get a name on Goku and Turles' parents, but that we do get some background about them. In my rewritten, Bardock is known as middle class. There's a low class and high and like elites in the normal Dragon Ball universe, but they're like in some of the first few like dubbed, they made him like Bardock a middle class. I made it to where like he's stronger than all lower class, but he's not at the level of elite. So he's like a general to the low class, and because he's got such power over his missions, he is very highly respected. Where Gine in my rewritten is it's kind of like a reject of the Saiyans because of her kind heart. She's a lover, not a fighter. The only thing that most Saiyans saw her for was her brain. She is a Saiyan version of Bulma. I will say she's not as brilliant as Bulma, but like she was the one who developed the false moon. She is the one who researched the developments of the tails and how you would need she's developed how to use the grade A properly. Like she's made the entire like understanding of the Saiyan body. She's basically the main researcher for the Saiyans, but after the fact that they started using her research to destroy and kill others, she stopped becoming the researcher and kind of fell out, got into a bad thing, and because of Bardock kind of seeing that, she has no use in saying things, he's liked her for a while, he like mates her up. So basically after being rejected, doing the research, hey, my research isn't for what I wanted, which is, hey, we shouldn't be dying, we shouldn't be injured, but yet, I want us to use it for the greater good, for our own species and race, but we use it to conquer worlds. And they get together after the fact that she stopped being a researcher. And then let's see here. And then at the end, Turles is beaten on episode 6. We have yet another cut of Gohan's tail. The Z Fighters are the reason that Turles is beaten this time. There is no Goku around because he's in the other world. So he's beaten by the Z Fighters as a whole. And at the end of this episode, Goku's training with King Kai is going well. We get to see the Spirit Bomb and the Kaioken being like in its infancy. Episode 7 is we turn back to the Saiyan Saga. In my rewritten, Vegeta has his originally colored brown hair. I'll explain that later when we get to the father of Bardock, which is next week's episode. As they're coming to Earth, they destroy, hunt down a bunch of planets and species. We see how like brutal they are. They get to Earth to destroy the armies. They meet the Z fighters, send out the Cybermen. Yamcha dies. Krillin destroys the rest of them, with the exception, of course, the one with Piccolo killing him. And episode 8 is literally just the Nappa fight. Him destroying Chatsu trying his best. Tien dies to the Tri-Beam. With Gohan's frightening in the middle of Piccolo, Krillin, and him were just bouncing Nappa back and forth to do as much damage as possible. When heading down to his turn, Gohan gets frightened, but because of this fear, he's about to get attacked, but Krillin jumps in to get injured, which puts him out of the fight. And then Nappa tries to kill Gohan, but gets Piccolo killed. Gohan goes into a rage, kicks Nappa's butt, but guess what? He's a tank, so he takes it all. But Goku, right before he's about to kill both of them, Gohan and Krillin, Goku comes in, saves them, gives them senzu beans to heal back up. And episode 9 is just playing with Nappa and killing him. And now that there's no Piccolo, that means no Kami, no Dragon Balls. But because of the mentions of the Namek saga of Namek, we learn of the birthplace of the Dragon Balls, and that there is a planet out there that they can use to try to use their sets of Dragon Balls to bring at least some of their friends back. And then we go into, hey, let's go to the Wastelands to start the fight between Goku and Vegeta. Episode 8 is Kaioken, Spirit Bomb is utilized. The beam struggle between Kaioken and the Garlic Gun from Vegeta. Since Goku wasn't there to absorb a lot of the knowledge, I made it to where King Kai relayed the information to Goku to have him understand his roots better. We do have a re-summarization by Vegeta to explain the fake moon. And because it's their fault, his mother who made it. And then we end the episode with Great Ape Vegeta. Episode 11 is Great Ape Vegeta Fight with Yamcharobi coming in for the clutch. Episode 12 is the last, the struggle to beat Vegeta, with Krillin, Gohan, and Yamcharobi. Goku has Krillin show mercy to one of the last kinds. We do get to see some of the bonds, during the reunion on episode 1 with Raditz. We did see Bulma, Krillin, and Roshi, but here we see Chi-Chi rush to her baby boy. Goku has been dead, so the only person that she knew was alive, that was her family. She wants to make sure her son is okay. And then, Roshi, Bulma, and Krillin make sure Goku is okay, making sure he's not dead again. Episode 13, we have Goku in the hospital. This time, instead of just, hey, you're useless until after we leave for Namek, basically I wanted to show off some of the people from OG Dragon Ball here, like Nam and Rayleigh, and not Rayleigh, because if you did that, if this is made into a series, copyright issues, but Android 8 at least, to show up, hey, you were a hero before, making sure you're okay now. This is a Capsule Corp funded hospital, so this will explain how they can heal without getting questioned. Mr. Popo explaining Kami's King Kai and Mr. Popo kind of give more lore on Namek. They show off Kami's ship, but they say, hey, we can go to Namek to get the Dragon Balls, but you're not the only one looking for them. There's an emperor who's running that space empire that you were told about. So if you go there, there's most likely going to be a run-in with them. Based on his injuries, actually Goku, if he with his healing process, could probably go to Namek with everyone else. Let's see here. Mr. Popo was showing Bulma the ship. They start repairing it. Goku's going to be healed by the time it's done. And then at the end of the episode, Oolong and Pooh are in Kami's ship messing around, and they hit one of the buttons that sends out a distress signal to other surrounding Namekian ships. Episode 14, we get into Lord Slug. He lands with all of the soldiers. They start trying to take over the planet. We get more Namekian lore from Lord Slug about, where he comes from, how it was like a rebellion against the great Guru. He was a friend of Guru, but they had basically Grand Elder Guru in his youth. He was friends with Lord Slug, but their ideals didn't match up, so they got into a fight. Z Fighters are again the only reason that we stand a chance here. The crew and the soldiers are dealt with, but episode 15 is mostly Slug versus Gohan. Goku does, step up to protect his son with the pseudo Super Saiyan. But he gives the rest of his energy to Gohan to do a DKP on. So Gohan does a DKP on Lord Slug. So father like son, taking out a Namekian with the hole through the chest. With the fight with Slug before he was able to heal properly, this puts him back to where he won't be ready for the trip. Let's see here. But of course, with Goku not being able to be healed, they won't be at full. They won't have actually anyone to fight the Emperor. So they make it to where Dr. Briefs can make a ship alongside the repairing of Kami's ship to make sure Goku has a ship to go there with behind them. Oh, and we do get a muffin button joke. What would you like in there, Goku? Make sure there's a muffin button. And I would say the only other thing that would change from the Saiyan saga would be, instead of the 9,000, it's what the manga was supposed to do with 8,000. I'd say there'd be some references to Team 4-Star, just because how big of a cultural impact, and it is kind of the free version of the show for most people. Well, anyways, that was it for this episode. I will see you guys next week for the Namek Saga. Originally there'd be 2 specials, but me explaining Tree of Might and Lord Slug in the Saiyan Saga. And I wanted to cut this a little bit short, at least somewhat shorter than OG Dragon Ball. But anyways, I'll see you guys next week for another Nancy Drew. We'll probably be playing a mobile game, it looks like, and then we'll be doing Namek Saga. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.